Thanks, sir.
But they all want you to bring the food now. They're like, they'll give you the cash.
Still, $100.
Yeah.
Mr. Jerry, you finished?
I am done.
Wonderful. Well, welcome to class, everyone. Sorry to weasel my way into your lesson that you've been working on. But we've got a really fun lesson today. We are going to learn how animals are used. So to start, you all use the actual lunch menu from school. You should have grabbed one at the clock. If you did not, you can take 5 seconds to do so. But what I want you to do is for about a minute, I want you to go through and circle any animal food products that you see on the lunch menu. What questions are there? Any animal food products you see on the lunch menu, go ahead and circle those for
Milk? What is that?
Not a food, that's a drink.
Be a really interesting cheese.
Yep. Just right. Well, I mean, it uses milk.
That's a good question. That's a wonderful question.
Wait a minute. Does it think like using over eat bread?
Maybe it depends on the bird. That's a wonderful question. Alrighty, you might not have gotten all the way through it, but what are some things we found? Who wants to raise your hand and tell me what are some things we
Chicken.
Popcorn chicken.
Tacos, beef, absolutely. What else?
Orange chicken.
Orange chicken. What else did we find? Cheeseburgers. There's 2 in there, probably, right?
Barbecue sandwich.
There's the barbecue sandwich. Fish, absolutely. That's an animal product. Cheese. Sausage. All sorts of different animal products. Yeah, so there's lots of different. That's a great question, though. Cheese comes from a lot of times processed milk. Yeah, okay, so it is a good question. It is a good question. So we'll read it back in. There's lots of different products that come from animals.
Sauce.
We'll read it back in. There's lots of different items that come from animals, and we're going to learn about those, but specifically diets that eat some of them or might not eat some of them. Can anyone think of any specific diets there may be that include or exclude different animal products? Yeah.
Like a vegetarian.
Yeah, a vegetarian.
They would eat any of the meats from the animals.
Absolutely, a vegetarian. They wouldn't eat any of the meats or anything from the animals. What else? Do we have experience with any other diets? Have we heard of any other diets, maybe? Lactose intolerant. What do they not eat? Dairy products, right? Absolutely. They might not eat dairy products. What else is there? Any other experiences there? Celiac? What's that one?
You can't eat.
Yeah, you can't eat gluten, absolutely. So there's lots of different diets, and I love that you guys mentioned diets that include health reasons or diets that are by choice. Because a vegetarian might be by choice, but celiac, that's usually because your body can't process that gluten. What you got?
One with where you can't eat red meat.
Or you can't eat red meat? That's a really good question, actually. Maybe, you know what? I'm going to have you look it up on a Chromebook when we get them out later. Then you can share it. Because I don't actually know. It's a really good question.
You're talking about the one when you get bit by a tick? Is that the one you're talking about? Okay.
There's also different religious reasons that may cause it, but for the one that where you get bit by a tick, I have heard of it, but I don't actually know what the specific disease it causes. So you'll have to look that up for it. Sure.
Yeah.
So we'll go to get started and we'll see what kind of different diets there are. You guys have a wonderful base knowledge, but we'll go ahead and see what we have. So today we're going to look at the lesson and you're going to be able to compare and contrast those different types of diets, whether that's vegan, vegetarian, pescatarian, and you'll identify some similarities and differences. You'll also have an exit ticket to go along with that as well. with your notes, you're going to be able to complete a promotional poster. So towards the end of the class, we're going to get in pairings, and you guys are going to be able to complete a poster on one of the diets that we learn about. So you'll get to pick whether you're in favor of that diet or against that diet. And every pairing will do a different one. So we can see what kind of facts there may be about these different diets. And then afterwards, you'll be able to identify all of those different diets we talked about on your exit. What question is going to answer about what we're doing today? Beautiful. So to begin, some vocab. We've got omnivore, vegetarian, vegan, and pescatarian. Raise your hand if any of these are familiar. A couple of us, they might be familiar. Yeah. So we'll learn about the omnivore, or a person who eats both plants and animal products. We'll learn about a vegetarian, a person who does not eat meat, but they might consume animal byproducts, such as dairy or eggs. A vegan, or a person who does not consume any animal products, including meat, dairy, or eggs. And a pescatarian, which is a person who eats fish and seafood, but avoids other types of meat. So beginning with those animal food diets. So people eat those different types of food based on their culture or their health or their beliefs and personal choice. So we kind of touched on all of those whenever you guys were sharing your experiences with those diets. We had the vegetarian that might have just been because we heard that people chose to be vegetarian. Cultural or religious beliefs, like the red meat we had discussed, or it might be for health, like the celiac or the lactose intolerant people that aren't able to eat certain items because they can't process those animal products. So you guys talked about some of those diets you know about, and what are some advantages or disadvantages to some of those diets? What?
In vegan, you're like,
So that might be a disadvantage for if you're vegan and you don't eat the meat. You might miss out on the protein. What else do we think? It's okay if we don't have an answer. It's not a right or wrong answer. I'm just curious to see what you guys think might be a positive or a negative for those diets. Give me one more. Give me one more share. What do you think? Positive or negative on any? I'm sorry, diet? Absolutely. That's a wonderful piece of input. Some diets you might not get the exact nutrients that you need, or you might get more of some, less of the others, depending on what you need. Thank you so much for sharing. Absolutely. So, as we continue, why do we have animal-based diets? So, the production of meat for human consumption requires huge amounts of energy for it to actually be produced. And only 10% of the energy is passed from the producer to the consumer, and so on. So the losses of energy is cause for debate among many proponents of sustainability. So when we hear that buzzword sustainability, what does that mean? Where have we heard sustainability before? What does it mean to be sustainable?
to be able to keep it.
To keep it going, right? To be able to keep it going. Absolutely. So to keep it going in a way that it can continue to provide also. So the sustainability word is used because a lot of times we might see different diets that want to continue to be what this idea of sustainable is, and that might look different for everyone. So it takes a lot of energy to feed cattle or to feed hogs or to feed chickens, and it takes a lot of energy to process those animals for us to eat. And really, we only get a little bit of that energy in return for us. So people have a lot of different viewpoints on whether that falls into a sustainable category or whether we should be eating different diets just to help the earth. So starting out with our first one, does anyone want to take a shot at trying to pronounce it? Who wants to pronounce that one? Yeah, you got it.
Omnivore.
Omnivore, you got it. So, omnivore is someone who eats both plant and animal products. So, what would be an example of an omnivore? Humans, right? We're all omnivores. Not all of us, but a lot of us, or majority of us, are omnivores. So, we do eat both plants and animal products. So, that could be your meat, your dairy, your eggs, your fruit, your vegetables. And some advantages are there's a wide variety of food options. And it's easier to meet those nutritional needs like protein and iron and those vitamins, potassium. And it's pretty flexible with diet. So maybe you're at the airport and you're flying all the way across the country and you need food. It's pretty flexible. You can probably find something at the airport that you're going to want to eat. Some disadvantages though, just like my airport example, it can lead to unhealthy choices if that isn't balanced. So maybe you eat McDonald's every day and you see it at the airport, so you want to eat it again. That would be pretty unhealthy in comparison to maybe a wrap or a salad bar. That would also be an option. It can also have an environmental impact from the meat production, and sometimes there are ethical concerns about animals that are used. A lot of people choose diets based on their concerns with how the animals are processed as well. What is our second one? What's first? Yeah. Carnivores. So that's someone who eats mostly or only animal products. Can anyone give me an example of a carnivore? Yeah.
Canines.
Canines, yeah, absolutely. Or is there another one? Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Or I think a lot of times of our childhood, we used to watch a movie. Has anyone seen The Land Before Time?
Yes.
Yes, I love The Land Before Time. And what is that movie about? Dinosaurs, yeah. So I watch that a lot. So like T-Rexes, a lot of times when I think carnivore, I automatically think of the different dinosaurs that we learned about growing up. But also, is anyone on TikTok right now seeing the carnivore diet? Has anyone seen it on the internet? Yeah, everyone, the carnivore diet is booming right now. Everyone is eating steak and eggs and cottage cheese, or steak and salt on top. They're not eating anything but meat. So it's really interesting to see how different diets ebb and flow as they're going through different years. But who wants to read those advantages for me on the board?
High protein, simple food choices. Okay.
Absolutely. It's very high in protein. There's very simple food choices. So there's not much to choose from. It's very easy and very concrete on what those food choices are. And it supports a lot of that muscle growth. How about those disadvantages? Who wants to read disadvantages? Yeah, thank you.
Next fiber.
Perfect, beautiful. Exactly. So it lacks fiber and some of those vitamins, and it increases a lot of the health issues. A lot of what we're seeing right now with the carnivore diet is it's a really high in fat diet, right? You're not having any of those fruits or vegetables to balance out all of the fat that you're getting from that meat and those eggs that you're eating. And limited variety. So it kind of works as an advantage and as a disadvantage. Maybe you want a lot to choose from, but also that means you don't have a lot to choose from. How about our next one? What does it say?
Herbivore.
Herbivore. This one I also think of the dinosaurs whenever I see it, because I feel like a lot of our dinosaurs ate like an herbivore. Do you have an example? Like Triceratops, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So lots of different herbivore animals as well. Some of the examples that you would eat as an herbivore would be those fruits, those vegetables, those grains, or any nuts, anything grown. Some advantages are they're high in fiber and they're really high in nutrients, and they lower risk of certain diseases. So, like maybe you've heard that carrots are good for your eyes, or they provide different nutrients as well. They're most of the time allocated as environmentally friendly, which that may be mean they're organic, that maybe they're not organic produced, but it just depends a lot of times the way that thoughts work that they're categorized more environmentally friendly in your work. And who wants to read those disadvantages?
Less careful and protein fats. Often.
Absolutely. So you must carefully plan for those protein and the vitamins that you're gonna get in. So maybe that's you taking a supplement because you're not eating those meat. I know a lot of people that take that B12 and iron supplement, even if they do eat meat. Those are two of the really big vitamins that we get from eating red meat, especially. So you want to make sure you replenish your body with those if that is the diet you so choose. What's our next one? Vegetarian. This is one of the more common ones we've probably seen, whether that be in school or in our lives. Is anyone in here vegetarian? Does anyone know a vegetarian or live with one? Yeah, I know a couple vegetarians. I know some are for health reasons and some are just because they choose to be. But they do not eat meat, but they might eat animal products. So what are some of those animal products that they might eat that aren't meat? What'd you say?
Eggs.
Eggs, absolutely. So they're from an animal, chickens produce them, but it's not the meat from the bird, absolutely. What's another one? Dairy, any dairy, you're exactly right. So milk, cheese, what have you, those are exactly right. So some types of vegetarian, they actually go into different ones. Lacto vegetarian, so what was we talked about when you can't have milk, what was that called? Lactose intolerant. So the milk part, or the part people are allergic to is the lactose in the milk. And if you're lacto vegetarian, that means you don't eat dairy. If you're ovo vegetarian, you also don't eat eggs. And you're a lacto ovo, you don't eat either. So pretty interesting that they have all of the different terminology for the different subcategories of vegetarians. Yeah.
If you're lacto-ovo vegetarian, aren't you just vegan?
I know, but also, what are some other animal products that might not be dairy? So there's lots of different products. That's a really good point because it sounds exactly the same. But even, yeah, vegans don't eat honey because it's animal based. It's made from animals, yeah. So there are some vegans that are a little less strict, but a lot of times when you look at the true definition of a vegan, it's no animal products, which includes honey. So those lacto-ovo, while it does sound like vegan, that's a really good point. It also means that they might eat like honey or eggs, because eggs are technically not good. They're just a lot of times categorized. What are some advantages of being vegan? Absolutely. And what are some disadvantages?
They lack protein or iron, if not planned well, limited food options.
Absolutely. So there are limited food options depending on where you go. A lot of fast food chains and things like that are good at making accommodations because they know it's a lot more popular these days to have vegetarian, vegan, or herbivores in a sense. But not all places have something for you to eat. You might have to get it fixed, or especially if you're in that celiac or lactose intolerant, the cross contamination a lot of times makes it hard for you to find something to eat as well. Our next one is vegan, a little bit different than our previous. This one is going to avoid all animal products like we talked about earlier. So that was a wonderful connection. So some of those examples might be no meat, dairy, eggs, or honey. So really anything to come from any sort of animal, our vegans are not going to eat. There are even some that go as far as not using leather wallets or leather purses because the leather is also made from an animal. So it just depends on how strict they want to be about the not having animal products in their home and near them. Some advantages might be a strong environmental benefits because you don't use those animals and they don't have that energy lock. For ethical reasons, they might not choose to eat meat or any animal product, and it can improve your overall health depending on how you go about it. But just as it can improve your overall health, it can also diminish your health if you don't plan carefully, which is one of the big disadvantages. And similarly to vegetarians, you might have those nutrient deficiencies that come from that protein or that come from that red meat. So that B12 and that iron that we saw, those are just the same in being vegan. And it can also be more expensive. A lot of times when you market something as a vegan product or if you go to a grocery store that caters towards vegans and vegetarians, the markup is going to be a lot higher than if you were going to go to Walmart and get your lunch. Has anyone been to like a Whole Foods or a Trader Joe's? Yeah, you have. So a lot of times, like their market is more of a vegan or vegetarian or cleaner eating market. So a lot of times you can see their prices might be a little bit higher than what we would see at like a Walmart or a Dollar General or even. Our next, I accidentally duplicated our slide. Oh no, I'm going backwards. That was me. So sorry, guys. Our next is a pescatarian. So does anyone take a guess what a pescatarian is? You eat fish. Yeah, wonderful job reading the board. Hurrah. So you eat fish, but no other meat. So you're still not getting that red meat in, but you are able to eat fish as a product. So some examples might be the fish, the dairy, the eggs, or any sort of plant. And some good advantages, it's a good source of those omega-3 or fatty acids that our bodies really need, which is another one of those. A lot of people you'll see will take like fish oil pills as they progress in age, or they might take an omega-3 to replenish those if they aren't getting enough of those in their diet. It's a lot healthier than red meat diets for most, and it's a very balanced nutrition. Some disadvantages, if you're against the animal consumption side of things, it still does involve some form of animal consumption. And there are concerns about overfishing and mercury that comes from fish. Also, a lot of people, when it comes to diets, get concerned because a lot of times pescatarians may eat fish that's grown at a fishery. Who can guess what a fishery is? Yeah, a fish farm. It's where they produce fish, just like we would raise cattle and reproduce the cattle, or we would raise pigs and have the pigs reproduce. They raise fish. Fish. Questions can I answer about pescatarian?
Why is fishery so bad as the farm?
A lot of times the same idea is there in that they just don't want it to be a raise on the farm, reproduce. They want it to be a wild caught fish. Just like it's just like they don't want it to be like man reproduced. They want it to be naturally reproduced, if that makes sense. So a lot of times like cows have the ability to naturally reproduce and fish do too, but it's a lot easier to have more fish if you ate in that like man-made. Does that answer your question? Wonderful. All right, we'll continue on here. Our next is a flexitarian, which sounds very interesting. If you ask me, I thought it was very interesting when we were putting it together. And who can read that definition for me?
Mostly plant-based, but occasionally eats.
Yeah, exactly. So mostly plant-based, but occasionally eats meat. So some advantages are it's flexible and realistic. The health benefits of plant-based eating are there, and it's a lot easier to maintain than not eating meat at all, or only eating fish, or not eating any animal products. But some disadvantages are it's not as environmentally friendly as those full vegetarians and vegans, but it can also still include unhealthy foods. So this is very similar to what? What does this one sound very similar to? Yes, it does, absolutely. Mixed with an omnivore, right? So basically they're eating like an omnivore. They're just being more intentional about choosing when they're going to eat that meat. So why do you think, of all the diets we covered, why do you think people choose these different diets? Personal preference, absolutely. Religion. Maybe religion.
Health benefits.
Health benefits, absolutely. Yeah, you guys nailed the head. So there are a lot of different reasons people might choose these different diets, but it's especially because of those health reasons, those religious reasons, or maybe just by personal preference in aligning with what they believe in. Continuing, they also have animal welfare reasons, or they might have environmental concerns. But other than that, there's reasons that you guys mentioned. Am I going too fast? Wonderful. So what type of diet do you propose to use? Yeah, I'm so sorry. Absolutely. Are we good? Yeah. So when you think about that, what are maybe some diets you think would use energy resources the most efficient? Omnivore, that's a good one, absolutely. What else? Can anyone remember and recall on their notes what was the diet that used the most energy? Carnivore, yeah. So if carnivore uses the most, and what does carnivores only eat? Meat. What other diets do you think would use most efficient? Vegetarian or omnivore, the one that eat more plants than animals, right? The ones that take a little bit less energy. What questions can I answer about the note sheet? Do we have any blanks for computer? Wonderful. So let's do a little bit of a review here. What are the main differences between a vegetarian, vegan, and pescatarian? Yeah, what you got?
A vegetarian will still eat some products that are vegan.
Absolutely. And what about that pescatarian?
Pescatarian.
Absolutely. So what's one advantage and one disadvantage of being an omnivore? Yep, that's an advantage. We have a wide variety of food. It's just or the environmental impact of using the animals, right? Absolutely. That can be seen as a disadvantage. And why might someone choose to follow a flexitarian or a vegan diet? Maybe by personal preference. Yeah. Absolutely. They might choose to be a flexitarian because they'd rather eat those vegetables and fruits that they know they need to eat those meat products. Or they might choose to be vegetarian or vegan, excuse me, because they don't want to eat any animal products at all. You're exactly right. So, a little bit of an objective review. We have gone through our PowerPoint and we've been able to look at those notes and compare those different types of diets that there might be with animals and foods. And now it is time for us to do our poster project. So, for the assignment, you're going to prepare a one-page flyer to justify or oppose the use of meat in the human diet, including the level or quantity of meat to be consumed. So where it says including the level of quantity of meat to be consumed, what do you think I mean by that? The amount, right? So per diet, each diet consumes a different amount of meat, right? So each diet is going to consume a different amount of meat. So that including the level or quantity of meat to be consumed, that's going to be based on your diet. So that's where you'll be able to find that. And on your flyer, I need you to have at least 3 facts you can use to support your argument. And then your argument does not have to represent your own diet or beliefs. So this isn't to be aligned with what you think, because we want to have one in every category. But it's in order to cover them all and just to explore a different one. So again, you're going to have your flyer. You're going to have 3 facts on whatever you choose. And you'll work with one partner. What questions can I answer? So here are all of our choices. We might have to double up on a few. We'll work in our elbow partners, like whoever's next to us. We'll work in our elbow partners. There's vegan, vegetarian, carnivore, herbivore, flexitarian, pescatarian, and you can be in favor or against either of them. So whenever you come up as a partner to pick, you can be in favor or against either. So what we are going to do is you will be able to come up. It's going to be first come, first serve. Get your marker. So send one partner up to come decide what you would like. Write you and your partner's name.
That's your name.
No,
I don't know actually your name.
What do you write?
We know what it means. It'll be okay. Just don't put in front of everybody else. Just wait until the.
We'll wait.
I wrote it in my. I touch this one. Yeah.
That was nice of you to ask us.
My sector child.
If you have written what you're doing as a partner parent, you may use your Chromebooks to start to create your poster. So you can do it on Canva, you can do it on Google Docs, you can do it on Google Slides, or if you have another platform you like to use, let me know and I will look at it and see if that works for what we're doing. And just one. Yep. So if you do Google Slides, it's one slide. If you do Canva, it's one sheet. If you do Google Docs, it's one doc.
I didn't know you could do that.
Who you're okay, perfect. Who are you working with? Who's your partner? Perfect. Well, put you can we work as group of three? Perfect. We'll work as group of three, right?
That's the.
I would recommend scooping your chair to your group of three so you can actually work as a group.
What?
Again, we work as a
Those are my plants.
You want to scoot over to this group? Does that work for you?
We'll do it.
Now, I know we only have a couple few minutes of class left, so we'll work on it. We'll just get the basics started. You may finish tomorrow with Miss Rozier, or she may push it back since you have another lesson, but we'll just get it started. I do know the bell will ring soon.
So you're going to take this place.
Sounds good. Wonderful. We've got about 10 minutes left of class. So what we're going to do is we're going to work on this for 7 minutes. And then the last 3 minutes, we'll do our exit ticket. Sound good? Beautiful. What are you guys doing? Which one did you pick? Cons. Cons and vegetarians. Perfect. What did you guys pick? Did you guys pick? Vegetarianism. Perfect. Carnivore pro. Vegetarian pro. Beautiful. Perfect. Love to see it. What did you guys pick? Beautiful. Sounds good. Again, we'll take about the next 6 minutes or so. And then we will do our exit ticket. I don't know where you get this. Do you guys want some music?
Yes,
please. Let me see if I can figure it out. That sounds.
I have a presentation.
You can do it vertical or horizontal. Doesn't bother me either way. Vertical or horizontal is just fine. I'm a big Canva person as well. I always use Canva. Does anyone have any school appropriate music requests?
No,
I can do it.
absolutely not. No.
This girl. Y'all dissing on Megan Maroney?
I am.
need a wedding dress.
Megan Macaroni.
But
No.
I say that. Is it clean? I don't remember.
Yeah, I didn't know all of her.
Dawn Party.
No.
Jason Aldean.
No.
Oh.
I
Dawn
don't
Party,
know.
Jason Allen?
No.
Yeah.
We'll do a mix. How about that?
I suggest something.
Wait, can you play Cloud9?
Oh, we're
I can do that if you stay focused on your assignment.
probably on the other side.
Character. No.
Nope, it does not have to be a paragraph one. Just have to have those three facts. Are there any questions I can answer? You guys answer? What three facts are you gonna put?
No problem.
How do you think you find them?
Let's get up for everything.
There you go. You know what you should actually do? You should look up the Candy Rugby. You guys think? Beautiful. I love Google too. Are you guys, what do you think to design? Slide or not? Beautiful, wonderful. I highly recommend whoever made the slides, make sure to share with the people in your group. What is it? Interesting. Very.
And it's the one with the white dot on it.
Yeah, I think they're called a lump star. Interesting.
Oh my god. Just, and I wait.
Go ahead and take the next minute to find a good stopping point so we can do our exit ticket before the bell rings at 11:37. Again, you may finish these with Miss Rose here tomorrow. You may finish them later. It is a matter of planning. So just
How long do you guys think you will need to finish them? Like, okay, so not a whole class period. Okay, then I will probably have you do part of them tomorrow or finish them tomorrow as part of your assignments.
Slides we need.
just one nice. Remember, this is a poster, like a flyer. This is a promotional poster that's promoting why you should or shouldn't be the specific guy in show. Again, let's go ahead and find a good stopping point, and let's go ahead and fill out that exit ticket. If you finish that exit ticket early, go ahead and turn it in at the front desk, but return to your seat as we will stay in our seats until the bell rings. Right away on your desk. Off the notes. No, notes are yours, Steve, as well as the lunch menu. Those are part of that. You can keep those. I just want your exit ticket at the front desk. Again, once you turn in your exit ticket, we are returning to our seats as the bell has not rung yet. You still have 2 minutes. Stuck with me. I did say that. Yeah, okay.
For waivers. If, supposed to
That's
So you are the farmer, so whatever you want to put on it, like if you wanted.
I know we have to like.
Put a couple of things. Yep.
What are some test questions I could ask from what we learned today? What might be a test question that might get asked?
The difference between a vegetarian.
A difference between a vegetarian or vegan? What else?
What's the advantage of being vegan?
What's the disadvantage of being?
Advantage of being carnivore.
Yeah, disadvantage or advantage of being carnivore. Can anyone answer that? Yeah.
Or a really fatty diet.
Yeah, so that would be a disadvantage. Yeah.
Disadvantage or environment.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the animal
And add they always have a lot of.
Absolutely. Thank you all for if you have a good day and be good people.
Like, it's for the
Yeah, it can it's I can see that because they definitely eat just the meat and it's very interesting how they go about it, right?
Yeah, yeah. No, like I saw one guy crack open an egg and just eat it.
Yeah.
He just went.
It's very
It can make you sick, can it?
it can, yeah. It can. Oh, it's a salmonella.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Have a good day.
So,
Thank you. Have a good day.
See you later, Jameer. Are you going to lunch or